Hello, today I'm going to be talking about plagiarism. Why, I was reminded of a story from 3 years ago of a website I will not name with an editor who I also will not name getting caught stealing content from a smaller creator. And then, after not apologizing, challenging those who were reporting on the situation to find more, and they did. Plagiarism is something that you hear a lot about academically, and in that case I just mentioned, somewhat professionally too. Now, plagiarism, by definition, is the practice of taking someone else's work or idea and passing it off as your own. And this covers more than just stealing bits from other people's reviews, in the case of the nameless one, and passing it off as your own work. But you could also plagiarize music. You could steal a melody and claim it as your own, or cite the melody in a song without getting permission. That's happened before. Someone has an idea for a movie. If you take that and make your own movie, that's still plagiarism. People do outright plagiarize films. It even applies to more modern media, like game coding. People have plagiarized code or wholesale stole the code. Like there was a thing of Atari versus Nintendo where Atari stole Nintendo's lockout chip code. Like straight up lifted the code so they could get around the lockout chip with their Tengen games. So why is plagiarism bad? Well, there are two angles I'm going to approach this at. The first is academic. Academic plagiarism is straight up cheating. I mean, it's cheating professionally too, but in academia, cheating is the part that is focused on. So, how can you plagiarize in an academic setting? Well, there's the form that a lot of people think of, which is copy pasting someone else's paper or large section of your sources and just shoving it in your paper without citing it, etc. Well, there's also forgetting to cite. Like if you use a source and you don't cite it, then that's plagiarism technically. But it's not as bad a bit of plagiarism as stealing someone else's paper and posting it and passing it off as your own, or taking big chunks of your source and not citing it and trying to pass it off as your own work. The victims in academic plagiarism are largely the original creators of stuff because you've stolen from them, whether they know it or not, and yourself. Cheating always hurts you more than anything else because when it comes to writing papers, at least, the papers are not just about regurgitating facts and figures. It's showing whether or not you've learned how to interpret those things and how to put things down in a logical manner and explain what you've discovered. That's why you're forced to take English in college, even if you're not an English major, because it's trying to teach you how to organize your thoughts and write them down into a coherent state and teach you how to do research properly. So, like I said, when it comes to the whole levels of it, forgetting citations, that's somewhat minor, but if you just don't cite at all, that's still cheating and plagiarism. If you have a works cited page but you forgot to cite them, that's, like I said, not as bad as just straight up not even having works cited. But when it comes to the professional thing, if you plagiarize, you have just tainted your whole career. Nameless one, I'm never not gonna be able to associate his name without the word plagiarist immediately coming up following it. And if you're definitely a creator who depends on a name recognition, your name being tied to plagiarist is probably not a good thing. Professionally, the victims are the original creators, and this time if they don't know it, they're definitely suffering, because if you've stolen it for professional purposes, commercial purposes, you are profiting off their work like a thief. Other victims are the fans of the original creator, because if they aren't getting the traffic to them, or they aren't getting the credits or following they deserve to them, especially for the bigger person ripping off a smaller person, they might suffer and might not be able to continue creating content. The people who follow the other guy are being tricked. Like if you're a thief, you're tricking the people who consume your content that you've stolen, make it look like you actually did your own research, but really you're nothing but a dirty thief. And I am being judgmental, but I feel very strongly about plagiarism, so I'm sorry, not sorry. And once again, you are still also technically a victim of plagiarism when you steal it and do it professionally. Because if you get caught, you are forever marked as a plagiarist, and unless you switch fields altogether, which in certain cases they foolishly do not, you are going to forever be tainted as a creator. People just look at you and say, did you really make this recent thing or did you steal it again? And that's the thing. It's something you don't even want to just get attached to you because it's a scarlet letter. It's a stain that will never come off. It's a mark of shame, and if you did plagiarize knowingly, you've earned that mark of shame. You've earned that black mark. You've earned that enmity. Because you hurt someone technically by stealing from them and trying to say that their ideas are your ideas. Because it's theft. You hurt yourself because you robbed yourself of an opportunity to be creative. So ultimately, why I really despise plagiarism is it just harms all around. And sometimes people who do it do feel bad, but other times there are those who are just unrepentant, who are only sorry they got caught. And that's another problem with being a plagiarist. Even if you apologize, people are not going to accept your apology because they could be snarky and wonder where did you plagiarize that apology from, and wonder if you're only sorry because you got caught. Now, if you plagiarize again, people will be watching you. So you really should not plagiarize because, again, academically speaking, you'll fail if your professor catches you. Professor, instructor, teacher catches you plagiarizing. And you also will have failed yourself because cheating, you don't learn a thing from. You may learn how to find information, but you don't learn how to compile information. And professionally, you will have marred your career for the rest of the time that you have that career. Some people can bounce back from it because the world is not fair. And in some careers, doing wrong things is a career enhancement, like politics. But I'm not going to get into that. But so plagiarism, you shouldn't do it because if you get caught, the consequences will always nail you.